Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's time to put on some really interesting videos. This is an NDE, near-death experience, from this woman here that really has quite the unique story to tell. So let's hear it and see where it goes. Enjoy.
I'm Lindsay Sharman, and I am a spiritual teacher and healer. I'm a spiritual guide. Way back when I was much younger, and I started having all kinds of paranormal experiences and spiritual experiences, and I didn't understand them really. A lot of them were very confusing. I was a teenager when a lot of them started occurring. And so I started having more and more of these spiritual experiences. And one of them was maybe one of the most profound spiritual experiences I've had, even to this day, decades later. But what happened was I was asleep. A lot of my experiences do happen when I'm asleep, and people wonder if they're just dreams. But if you are a dreamer, some people dream, some people don't. If you're a dreamer, you know the difference between your dream.
Dreamer, you're nothing but a dreamer. She must be a good artist. I see all these nice drawings in the back there. She's awesome. Anyways, let's get back to it.
Dreams and reality, and you know the difference between reality, your dreams, and this. This is something more. It's something that I call, and many people call, realer than real. It's more real even than waking life reality. It's more clear, it's more crisp, it's an out-of-body experience. There's qualities to this that just are not like being awake in life, but they're also not like dreaming. I think it's easier for some of us to have these experiences
Definitely.
when we're asleep because our consciousness is already shifted. It's already in a slightly different place. And so it's easier for us to maybe make contact with our higher self, with our inner self, and with our spiritual guides and allies. It's easier for us to step from this level of consciousness of waking life into an out-of-body experience when we're falling asleep. There's a moment where it's like really easy to do that. So I didn't know, though. I didn't have words for this back then. I didn't know what NDEs were. I didn't know what out-of-body experiences were. All I knew is that all of a sudden I was leaving my body and leaving my house and leaving Earth, and I was in what seemed to me like a ship. And I say that even though what really it was like was that I could look around and see myself in a ship, or I could look around and not see a ship at all. And it was really just based on what I needed to perceive, or what I needed to understand, or what I needed to experience. If I needed to feel safe, I would see a ship.
That's pretty normal for a lot of these people are saying this, that experience these NDEs. They feel like they're, in a ship or flying or whatever it may be. But yeah, a lot of unique and similar experiences between everybody.
Around me, and if I needed to not, if it didn't matter and I was lost in the experience and excited about what I was seeing out there, I didn't see a ship at all. It was like it was all just one big window, right? So I was floating through the solar system, and I saw Earth, I saw the sun, I saw the moon, I saw Mars, I saw Jupiter, I saw Saturn, and we were moving out, and I got really excited at this point. So I was like, oh, we're
So cool, eh? That would be so wicked to experience. Well, without having to go through the death part of it, but eventually maybe we'll all get to see that. But yeah, that's pretty wild.
going somewhere. And people ask me, who's we? Well, I knew that behind me were three of my guides and allies, and most frequently in many of my experiences since then, these are the three guides and allies that are behind me in these types of experiences. But I didn't know them well at that time, and so I knew I was just with beings that I trusted and loved, and who trusted and loved me, and that's all that mattered to me. So I just wasn't, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention to who they were or anything, except that we were just having this amazing experience going through the solar system. at some level of my soul, I must have known what we were doing and who I was with and what it was about or something. And so we're going out further and further. I'm seeing eventually like nebula and star clusters and, galaxies spun out. And if people remember, this is maybe 1994 or so, and I didn't have the internet. And no one I knew had the internet.
No.
And we had seen pictures and, you get glimpses and stuff, but you don't really have this same concept, this saturation that we have now of what space looks like and what's out there and how stars look.
Yeah, definitely. Like, who had internet in '94? I have no idea if I even remember anything about internet back then. I think it was year 2000 was the first time we ever bought a computer. Yeah, it's year 2000. So, in '94, I can see that. Not too many people, sharing a whole lot just from the word of mouth and the odd TV show. Nowadays, it's everything is right there at your fingertips. Cool. Let's hear.
And how nebula look. That wasn't as common as it is now to be able to see that and understand that. So this was blowing my mind. I was like, look at the colors. Look at how far away things are. Look at how beautiful and amazing. I was really like lost in just the splendor of the universe. And it was beyond words, just this part of it. And we're just going out further and further. And I was like, wow, I guess we're just going to keep going and looking at this whole universe. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. And eventually we got out and we, whole entire galaxies are all around, and we're just going and going deeper and deeper. And finally, one of my guides, draws my attention. He says, look over here. And I realize there's this very profoundly bright light. And there are never going to be words for me to be able to describe this light. It seemed to me like it was infinite
Everywhere.
numbers, billions and billions and billions and billions of stars, way brighter than the sun, way brighter than, bigger than anything that we could imagine, but all of them very dense, just like together in this one bright light. And it took my breath away. I mean, I wasn't breathing either. I had no body, but I had no ability to even
take my breath away. Hey, hey, yeah.
respond to how beautiful this was. I was like lost in it. If there had been an actual ship, I was like up against the window just staring at this beautiful light. It was like it was calling to me. I just wanted to be in it. I wanted to go to it and just stay there. It felt to me like home, which even now makes me emotional to say, because that feeling, I think a lot of us feel that, like there's somewhere else that isn't here that is our spiritual home. And I didn't have the words for that, but it felt like that. And my heart was called to this space, and I couldn't take my eyes off of it. And I just understood, and maybe I was being told or shown, but it was just coming into my consciousness, like, this is the center of all things. And in my mind, I'm like, that's God, right? Like, what would be the difference between the center of all things and God? There wouldn't be a difference, right? So in my heart, in my mind, I knew, like, this is God. And I also saw and understood this is actually the physical universe, too. Right, like this is the center of consciousness, this is God, this is the center of love, this is whatever you want, this is home. But it's also literally, physically the center of all.
Wow, that's crazy. Exactly. Now you see like a figure standing there looking like you think is Jesus or God. That's like, wow. What do you say, right? Where are you? What's going on?
All things, all the universe, all the stuff, all the matter, all the space, all of the stars, all of the nebula, all of the galaxies. It's right here. And then I sort of started to look beyond it. I finally could look away from the light. It was like capturing all of my consciousness. And I saw that coming out from the center was this two different sides, like a figure eight. Or if you could turn it, I understood that it would be like a, what's it called?
Figure
I
eight.
can't remember the word sometimes when I tell a story. The timepiece, the sand, an hourglass. If you could turn it to the side, it was like an hour.
Yes, the hourglass. The days of our lives.
Hourglass. So the center of all things is like the point where those two sides converge. And I just understood that they're spinning in opposite directions, the two sides of the hourglass, the two sides of the infinity symbol, the two halves of what comes out of the center of all things. And so I was being shown the structure of the universe. And again, at the time, I have no conception for this. I have no reason to know if that is the shape or isn't. I never even considered what would be the shape of the whole universe. And I saw this and I just said, yeah, okay, I mean, that makes sense. Sure. I have no reason to doubt this. This is just the experience I'm having. This is the shape I'm seeing. It's beautiful. And at some point, eventually, they said, okay, like, it's time to go back now. Yeah, and they pointed, and my attention is drawn way over.
Yes, time to go back now. Back to Earth and live out the rest of your years. Nobody ever wants to go back, apparently. But the boss speaks, and that's what you do.
So, to my perception, we're on the right side of this hourglass, or the right side of this figure eight that's coming out of the center of all things, and way out towards the end, way far away from the light, like very far from the center of all things. They said, that's where you live, that's the Milky Way. And I said, okay. And they said, so we're going to go back now. And unlike the journey out to the center of all things, we just went back. We were just there. Like, it took no time at all. It was like, oh, we're here. I just saw, again, Neptune, Uranus, Jupiter, Saturn coming back in. Here's the Earth. We're home. It was really fast.
We're home.
And, a different kind of home. And when I saw the Earth, I saw it for a moment as the Earth would look, right? Like a blue ball with the green and the clouds and everything. But then I saw it with like another layer over it. And this layer was, if you were looking down at the Earth, it was like millions and millions of tiny little tornadoes. And they were all moving, and they were all circling in towards the Earth. And for a second I thought, oh my God, is the whole Earth covered in tornadoes? Like, I was kind of scared. And they're like, no, this is just the different timelines for you.
Yes.
These are the different lives you can live. And I was like,
well, that's something else, but she had quite the experience. This is one of my first, second videos that I'm pretty much testing. So I got a lot to learn yet, and more to pick up on what I need to do and how I'd like to narrate it and be a part of it. So please subscribe, like, and bear with me. I'd really appreciate it. And see you soon. Ciao for now. And thank you for stopping in at, where else? Whispering Souls 360, which you'll see a lot more of soon. Have an awesome week.